Hello and welcome to an early impressions of the Doom multiplayer open beta on PC. Here I'm going to go through all the stuff that's in the beta in terms of the menu, the customization options and that sort of thing. And then I'm going to talk over some pre-recorded gameplay that I recorded earlier. So, with no further ado, let's go through the settings, shall we? So, you have various game options. Obviously, for the moment, this is a beta. It is subject to change. So, for the moment, it's only damage numbers under there. You can see there's no controller option there. Mouse and keyboard, you can rebind the keys, which is great stuff for me, and well, anybody really. Audio is pretty damn good. As you can see, you've got master music, SFX, and the volume for the announcer, who announces things like, pickup or enemy demon spawned and stuff like that. And you can literally just turn off voice chat totally, which is great. Or you can just mute certain people or mute all in the lobby if you want. But if you don't want any of that, you can turn it off, and of course the enable push to talk and all that. So for the moment, you cannot access the advanced graphics options. So this is all that there is for the moment, but I would imagine the full game will. So as you can see, you've got full screen, windowed or borderless, which is fine. Monitor, you can change the monitor, which is always nice to see. Resolution options are pretty nice. Obviously, if you change by 16 by 10, you will have 16 by 10 options. My other monitor is a 16 by 10 monitor, and I was playing it on that without any problems. It recognised it just fine. It was all great. VSync, adaptive on or off. There's various types of anti-aliasing, TAA and TAA and FXAA and TSSAA. Now, it did actually default to this. Now, the reason I've turned it to this is because I noticed some pretty horrible hitching with that one. Now, here's the thing about this game. Most of the time, it runs about 60. Sometimes it will drop down to like 55 or something, but most of the time it's at 60. But occasionally I'll just get these horrible hitches, and it got me killed more times than I can count. So I turned the anti-aliasing down, and it seemed to fix it. Obviously, I can't turn any of the other options down because, well, I can't. It's locked away. So there's definitely some issues to tweak. Obviously, it could be something on my end. It's very possible. Motion blur on or off, and chromatic aberration on or off, and of course field and view, which goes pretty high, goes all up to 110, but I have kept it around 100. That's usually what I like to have it on. So, in terms of options, it's fine, it's pretty good, especially considering this is only a beta. So you have various profiles, as you can see. This is my kill-death ratio. As you can see, I'm okay at the game. I've only played a few matches rather, and I'm definitely getting better. So, let's go into loadouts. Now, when you first load into the game, you will only have excuse me, these three available to you. I was actually going with Ambusher. That seemed to be the best for my playstyle. And then after a couple of games, I unlocked Custom 1. And Custom 2, and obviously Custom 3 is still locked for the moment. So there's a few options there available to you, and there is sometimes a Gauss gun available to pick up on the map, and I'm sure on other maps there will be other weapons as well. Now you can fully customise your Marine. So let's start with that. As you can see, I've jazzed up my Marine nicely, and as you can see, there's various different armours that you can wear. I've got the Jaguar armour on at the moment because I think that's the coolest. At the moment I've only got these two armours available to me, and only these two for my arm. My right arm is the same. As you can see, the amount of customization you can do is kind of crazy. Actually might change that back to Jaguar, that looks cooler. And then you've got your base armour. For the moment I only have UAC base at the moment, and you can mess around with your primary colours, of course, and you do actually unlock colours as you go. You've also got matte and metallic. Ugh, that looks disgusting. And the same for this as well. You've got your secondary colour, same metallic and matte. And oh, I've got a new thing for my lights. I can make my lights hot pink. Yeah, go on then, why not? And you've got various patterns. As you can see, I've got this one enabled at the moment, but you can have that pattern, and there's a few other things. You've got camos and symbols, but as you can see, I have not unlocked any of them. And you can even choose the pattern colour if you so desire. So if you want to have a bright purple or whatever pattern, you can do. And same for this as well, you can choose the inner colour. So as you can see, there is a pretty crazy level of customization. Now as you can see, you can also make it either very dirty or very worn. I have just a little bit of wornness, I think, and there we go. Alright, and you can even customise your weapons. As you can see, these are the weapons I have unlocked so far. I literally just unlocked this, haven't had a chance to use it yet though. As you can see, you can do the same thing to your guns as well. Although that looks horrible on that particular gun. So as you can see, the customization is pretty damn nice. And you also have some taunts, so like say you're one of the players of the game, for example, you have a little sort of thing that you do. And I'm going to change mine to Horns Metal, because why wouldn't I? Alright, so let's see. Yes, one thing you also unlock as you play the game is hack modules. Now, when you start out, you won't have any, but you get these as you play the game, and they're basically just little buffs to your character. Now, you can auto-select and auto-fill, which is kind of useful. Of course, you can choose it yourself if you want. And they've got track the nearest power-up or weapon, and reveal the location of your killer. So if you want to kill the person who just killed you, that's for. As you can see, there are a pretty crazy amount of hack modules, and I've unlocked quite a few after a little while of playing, about an hour and a half of playing this game so far. As I said, this is an early impressions. I will be playing more, of course, because it's pretty fun. But this is just my impressions so far. So yeah. So you've got various different slots where you can put different buffs that you get. So for example, this one gives me plus 50 XP for each kill. As I said, that one tells me where my killer is. And why have I got the same one twice? It's a bit strange. Can I not change that? Doesn't seem like I can. Alright. And actually I have an empty slot here, but sadly can't fill it. Now, if you don't want it to auto-select, you can turn that off, as you see here. So as you can see, the level of customization and the amount of stuff you unlock is pretty extensive. But I know what you guys really want to know. You want to know about the gameplay. For the moment, only Team Deathmatch and Warpath or Random, if you just kind of want to go between the two. So, match types in the beta are fairly limited, as well as, of course, are the maps. I did see a couple of different maps, but of course saw a few repeats as well. But of course, it's a beta. I'm not fully expecting the full range of maps, and of course they will have Snap Map in the full release, which will give us a load of free maps anyway, so I'm not too concerned about that. Now in terms of design, they are pretty awesome. I have to admit, the game looks pretty nice, even if the gun models are a tad huge. I would kind of like the option to tweak them just a touch. It's not obnoxiously annoying or anything, but it did kind of distract me for a bit at first. But in terms of the map design, they are very, very Doom. They have that lovely Doom aesthetic that you have probably come to know and love. There are all sorts of paths you can take. You of course just have the straight paths where you can walk around, go upstairs and things like that, normal stuff. But then you also have the ability to double jump and then grab onto ledges. So let's say there's an armor pickup or something like that on a sort of shelf thing above you. You can just sort of jetpack over to it, grab onto the ledge, pull yourself up, and then grab some armor and probably get shot in the face. So the map design, at least in the multiplayer, does kind of have that Doom labyrinthian feel that we've come to expect, of course. being a multiplayer map, is probably not going to be as expansive or as maze-like as the ones we're probably going to see in the single player, and of course this is for the multiplayer only, so I can't comment if that's true or not. But if they're like the old Dooms, they're obviously not going to be as expansive as those, because it's a multiplayer map. But even though they're smaller in scale, it still has that Doom feel of there's all sort of twists and turns, you can go up and down, there's all sorts of different routes you can take, you can jump across that massive gap and maybe miss and kill yourself, but you could also land and kill that enemy who's about to kill your teammate or whatever, and just feel this awesome feeling. So in terms of what the maps I played so far, I thought they were pretty good. They offered lots of different options, a little bit of verticality. As I said, you kind of got the sort of jetpack thing where you can jump around. Now in terms of the gameplay, you do start off with a couple of basic guns, depending on the loadout that you pick, and maybe a grenade or a teleporter or what have you, depending again on the loadout that you pick. As I said, sometimes you can pick up a weapon on the map, such as the Gauss gun, which is pretty awesome, by the way. You can pretty much one-shot most enemies. I didn't actually get a chance to try it on a demon, sadly. So, as you probably know, this is Doom, so that means there's pickups, lots and lots of pickups. There's going to be health, armor, and of course bullets, and the demon spawns as well. Now you only have 100 health, but you can also have armor as well. So it means that pretty much once the game has been rolling for a few minutes, not all players are going to be on a level playing field, because hey, that guy over there might have a full set of armor and full health, and you've already lost half your health because you got shot in the face with a rocket launcher. So it definitely adds an interesting dynamic where you want to explore the level, you kind of want to look around, keep your eyes on your surroundings, and look out for any pickups and armor and health that might give you a little bit of an edge over that guy who's been chasing you for the last 2 minutes. So I definitely enjoyed that. It did take a couple of matches for me to kind of get into the swing of things, you know, sort of running around pretty fast, jumping around, jumping onto ledges, picking up health and all that sort of stuff. You know, I don't normally play multiplayer FPS, to be honest, but this is Doom, so I thought, you know what, I have to try it, and it definitely has a appealing old school feel to me. I don't normally enjoy multiplayer focused FPS, and obviously this will have single player when it comes out, but you get my point. But this was actually really fun. The interesting mechanics from old school FPS, like armor and health, definitely added a new mechanic, so I can't just hide behind a wall and regenerate my health. I have to literally risk my life to go and get health so I don't get killed, and maybe get killed in the process. So I'm happy to report that that's there. The speed of your movement is pretty fast. It's not as fast as I was expecting, to be honest, because you pretty much move the land speed record in the original Dooms. But it was pretty fast. You can definitely sort of swish around and outrun enemies if you jump around and use the environment to your advantage. So it definitely encourages you to think a bit differently about how the map works and how you should use it, not just against your opponent, but in terms of how can I escape, how can I perhaps turn the tables on this guy who's chipped me down to like 2 HP or whatever. So overall, the gameplay I found to be pretty fun. Now, there have been some complaints about the Doom Open Beta, mostly down to the lack of variety of weapons, the fact that the movement speed is not quite what you'd expected, the weapons, the fact that you only have 2 weapons on the multiplayer. Those are definitely things that people are complaining about, and I definitely will agree that I do wish you had more options for weapons rather than just 2 plus a grenade or whatever your carry-on is. Now, while I did enjoy the gameplay, as I just said, and I found the guns to be fine, they weren't particularly interesting for the most part, apart from the Gauss gun. And the lightning gun sounds interesting, but again, I haven't had a chance to use it yet, so I'm not going to comment there. Now, the weapons, as said, they feel fine, but they just don't have that impact that I would expect. Especially the rocket launcher, which is a pain in the butt to aim, by the way. Now, I would definitely agree, there needs to be more weapons, there needs to be more weapon variety, perhaps weapon pickups on the maps would be more of a thing that you could do, and perhaps just giving you more slots for more weapons. Only having 2 weapons and then a third option is not that great, especially given that in the original Doom games you pretty much had every weapon under the sun tucked, you know, under your shirt or something. So I feel like that's something they need to add. It might be in the single player, it might not. I know they have said that the weapon variety is not going to be as crazy in terms of how much you can carry. I know they've made some comments regarding that, but don't quote me on that because I can't remember exactly what they said. But that is definitely going to be a bugbear, especially for old school Doom fans. Now, of course, I have played Doom, but I wasn't like a huge fan of it. I enjoyed it, always have, but I'm not really super into FPS, so I'm not going to feel as passionately about it as obviously the people on Steam giving it mixed reviews. It is mixed at the moment on Steam for the things that I've just said. As I said, the maps are a bit smaller than you might expect. In a way, I kind of understand that because they are kind of maze-like with all sorts of nooks and crannies, but obviously the cramped map feeling is not a Doom thing, as well as the lack of weapons, and the speed is not quite what you'd expect. Now, as I said, there is of course progression in this game. You level up, you unlock stuff, you unlock new skins, new weapon skins, new colours, new armour types, new hack modules and stuff like that. Now that is probably something that people didn't want to see in a Doom game, because, well, that is very much a thing of modern shooters where there has to be some sort of progression tree. Personally, it's tough to say, because at the same time they're trying to bring Doom into the modern era, so they're trying to, you know, give you something to keep you playing in the multiplayer, which I understand, and they're not giving you anything that's a real, like, oh my god, what the fuck advantage, at least as far as I've experienced. And as I said, this is early impressions, so please don't quote me on that. But I can still see why people might not like it, so do keep in mind that this has several elements that are probably going to be displeasing to fans who have very fond memories of the Doom games. As I said, I did enjoy Doom back in the day, and I would play it every now and again, but I'm not super passionate as some people are. And although the maps and the visual design definitely have that Doom feel, it does lack something about it that old Dooms had, so it's definitely lost something over the years, and that whether or not it's going to bother you is entirely down to you. Personally, I thought it was fun, but I could definitely see why people are giving it mixed reviews, because it's probably not what people are hoping for. As I said, I found the game fun. I did enjoy my time with the game, as I've said. I, played a few matches and found it to be at least holding my attention and quite fun, which is more than most modern shooters do these days, unless it's like Shadow Warrior or something. So for that, it's to be commended. There are definitely some old school ideas, but they are being mixed in with modern ideas that may be a game breaker for some people. For myself, I'm probably going to mostly be focused on the single player when it comes out anyway, but a lot of people were really looking forward to the multiplayer, and I can definitely see why it's having mixed reviews. It is an open beta, so it's free to play if you want to try it for yourself. But those are my opinions. It is a good game, but it's definitely lost something over the years that Doom has been gone. Is unfortunately modern ideas mixed in with some old school ideas that are sadly a little bit suffocated under those modern ideas. Now, the game is out next month, so that's probably not going to change. They might add more weapons and maybe add more weapon variety and the ability to carry more weapons. I've said weapons like 50 million times, but hey ho. As things progress, it's of course the point of a beta, but the core mechanics of, hey, you've leveled up, here's a thing, here's a shiny, is probably not going anywhere. And if that's not what you wanted from Doom, this might not be for you. So, those are my early thoughts. As I said, I'm probably going to do a video on the single player when it comes out, and the multiplayer as well when it comes out properly. Obviously, this is subject to change, but overall, my thoughts are it's a good game. But is it really Doom? That one is up to you to decide. For me, it's Doom, kind of. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.